And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FB Show, we are going to continue our Week 3 game recaps, breaking down every single Week 3 matchup, all through the lens of fantasy football. Up next, one of the best games of Sunday, that was the Rams and the Bills. So if you are excited for this game recap, be sure to hit that like button down below, like an open receiver downfield. Also smash that subscribe button, power running back style, so you don't miss a video from me. Last but not least, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. The conversations and interactions I've been having over there have been spectacular. Again, no highlights this week. We are strictly focusing on box scores and fantasy content. So let's try and knock out every single game, shall we? And let's take a look at the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills defeated the Rams. This was a battle of the only 2 undefeated teams left on a Sunday. The other 2 both playing on Monday. So the Bills improved to 3-0 after defeating the Rams 35-32. This game was electric all the way around. The Rams came back down 28-3, and they nearly stole a victory in Buffalo. Jared Goff, 32 attempts, 23 completions, 321 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns, one of them being a rushing touchdown as well. Darrell Henderson. Oh my goodness, my man got to work. It was something I wasn't sure if it was going to happen or not. I had a lot of hesitations with people playing Henderson, but boy did he come through if you started him. 20 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Malcolm Brown only had 7 carries coming off of that pinky injury. Cooper Kupp, 10 targets, 9 receptions, 107 yards, and a score. He came through for you as well. And Robert Woods, going to do Robert Woods things. 3 carries, 30 yards, 5 receptions for 74 yards, and 1 touchdown. Both Rams pass catchers, the main ones at least, both having 100-yard days and finding their way into the end zone. On the other side, with the Buffalo Bills, this is a train that keeps on rolling. Josh Allen, 24 completions on 33 attempts, another 300-yard game, 5 touchdowns including a rushing, and 1 interception. He was spectacular all day long. Devin Singletary with Zach Moss out. Devin Singletary, I believe the number was 88% of snaps for him this week. 13 carries, 71 yards. Also caught 4 passes for 50 yards as well. He looked pretty solid all day. Stefon Diggs. Diggs could have had 3 touchdowns, but unfortunately, for one reason or another, 2 of them were called back. However, Diggs still played pretty well, all things considered. 4 receptions for 49 yards and a touchdown. And Cole Beasley stepped up in the absence of John Brown, who left the game with a quad injury. Beasley, 7 targets, 6 receptions for 100 yards flat. And again, the Bills hold off the Rams. Both teams were 2-0 entering this game, but the Bills hang on at home against Aaron Donald and company. So let's talk about it, right? So this game I thought was I'm torn. Like, there were so many great games this week, right? Between the Rams and the Bills, the Bears and the Falcons, and one of the games that I just finished watching being the Seahawks and the Cowboys. There were a lot of great games this week, but this one was so cool, right? The Rams looked really flat. It's not even that the Rams looked flat per se. It's actually more so of just how hot the Bills started off, right? The Bills picked up right where they left off last week, and they just kept it moving. They literally jumped out to a 21-0 lead. That lead then came to 28-3. But then in the second half, the Rams offense really started rolling. They were utilizing Robert Woods left, right, and center. Cooper Kupp was finding his way open throughout the center of the field as well as up the sideline. And Darrell Henderson absolutely balled out again, 100 yards rushing on the ground on 20 attempts. Jared Goff, this was a good Jared Goff game. This was a great Jared Goff game. Goff finished with 27 fantasy points. Josh Allen, finished with 30. This was just a lights out game, right? And one of the things we were expecting was we knew that this game was going to be competitive. I was just a bit unsure of what the scoring situation would look like. Would this be a game that turned into a shootout, or would this be a game that was a little bit more conservative, a little bit more gridlock, where the final score would maybe be 21-24? But no, we got way more than that. The over-under was absolutely smashed here with the combined score of 67 points in this game. Let's talk about it just a little bit, just some extra thoughts here. Darrell Henderson, in the absence of Cam Akers, who was out with that rib injury, and with Malcolm Brown being hobbled due to that pinky surgery, Henderson looked really solid. They were using him in a lot of different ways. They were getting creative, using Robert Woods as the lead blocker at times, different end-around tricky plays like that, and then also just giving Henderson the goal line work as well. So it's 20 carries, a lot of opportunity. He also had 3 targets out of the backfield as well, and just getting into the end zone. I really thought that Darrell Henderson played a great game in this matchup against Buffalo. Malcolm Brown, it is just one of those things where I knew his usage was going to be limited with that injury. Again, the thing I was explaining earlier in the preview for this game was try and just pick up an item, and then not have the ability. But then not have the ability to use your pinky. It is just really awkward, right? The pinky is so vital, especially for carrying a fucking football, right? So I knew Brown was going to be limited. Seeing Cooper Kupp bounce back in this game after such a slow start. Cooper Kupp started the year with 6 points and 9.5. To have him come out and ball out in a 21.5 point performance against this great Bill secondary was really encouraging to see. Robert Woods got back on track as well. I know he scored last week, but he also just balled out. And this is what this Rams offense can do. We've known this, right? And they've just kind of been through this period of reinvention. It looks like that they found something that really works. Utilizing Tyler Higbee, who still had 2 receptions for 40 yards and a 2-point conversion. Getting Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods involved in a variety of different ways. Again, Robert Woods had 3 carries for 30 yards. And just using those end arounds and just those handoffs to him, being able to just utilize him in a variety of ways. Henderson getting the majority of the work onto the backfield, which really just opened things up for Jared Goff. And that's the thing that we've known about him for a while, is Jared Goff plays so well once the field is open and once they are able to use creative ideas in order to just spread everybody out and then let Goff make the decisions from there. I don't know if there's any really, to me, there's no real fantasy news here. All things considered, moving forward into next week. You're still going to start Cooper Kupp. You're still going to start Robert Woods. You're still going to start Tyler Higbee. I have more confidence in starting Darrell Henderson now, admittedly, than I did going into the week. This is now back-to-back games where Henderson has played really well, putting up 18 plus fantasy points in back-to-back games. I think Henderson really is earning the confidence in this coaching staff. He's just getting the work. Very blatantly put, he's getting the work, and that's one thing that we really like to see out of the running back position. Moving over to the Bills, who again moved to 3-0 now. Josh Allen. I have been a Josh Allen doubter, but the way that he has played to start this season is otherworldly. Again, another 300-yard game. 5 total touchdowns, 1 interception. Right now, just in terms of passing, Josh Allen has 10 touchdowns and 1 interception. He also has an additional 2 rushing touchdowns. He's absolutely cooking. And then again, he has had 3 straight games now above 300 passing yards. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they put something in the water in Buffalo or if the addition of Stefon Diggs really is that valuable for Allen to take that next step forward. But my God, Josh Allen is just lighting the league on fire. It's basically it's Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, and then everybody else right now. And that's something that I don't think a whole lot of people expected coming into the season. Devin Singletary, again, no Zach Moss due to that toe injury. Singletary played really well given the opportunity that he had. Again, 88% of the snaps. He finished the day with 14.1 fantasy points, 13 carries. Also, obviously, naturally saw the receiving work as well. There was a slight issue, and that was TJ Yeldon was getting the goal line work over Singletary, and that's always going to be the killer for Devin, just specifically that they don't value him at the goal line, and that's where the most valuable touches are going to come from, right? That's where you have the opportunity. That's where you have the opportunity to earn 6 points on 1 touch, just by getting into the end zone, and they don't trust him in that situation, and that really is unfortunate for Devin Singletary's ceiling, especially with the uncertainty surrounding Zach Moss and his timetable for return. Stefon Diggs is still absolutely lights out as a receiver right now. He's balling out. You need to start him every single week. You should have been starting him every single week anyway. Cole Beasley If John Brown continues to miss with that quad injury, he did not return. He goose-egged for you, unfortunately. That quad injury happened pretty early on in the game. Again, Beasley stepped up, 6 receptions for 100 yards. Beasley was a guy who I had last year in a full-point PPR 14-team league, and I was starting him almost week in, week out, and it's just because, for Josh Allen specifically, Josh Allen, despite the fact that he does have Stefon Diggs now to throw deep to, Josh Allen still just really likes making comfortable throws, right? Just finding guys over the middle of the field for those quick hits, and that's what Cole Beasley does. So if you are in a PPR format, I like Cole Beasley because of the fact that he is going to see 7-8 targets a game, probably haul in 5 or 6 catches, but then also give you 75 yards from that as well. That's just a great flex play or a great wide receiver too if you need a spot start for one on any given week. Let's see what else. Tyler Kroft, tight end for the Bills, scored 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions for 24 yards and 2 scores. Dawson Knox was out with a concussion, so Kroft came in and stepped up. Not a guy that he's not a guy that I'm going to target off the waiver wire by any means. I do think this was a one-game thing, especially just because Knox was out with that concussion. I think he's going to be back for next week. Anything else here? Josh Reynolds, 4 for 60 and a fumble. Van Jefferson, unfortunately, only had 1 target, my baby boy. But I think that's going to be it. Any other thing of note here? I would look to see, depending on what we hear from depending on what we hear from John Brown and his injury. Just focus on Cole Beasley. Just name to keep in the back of your head when you move over to the waiver wire on Tuesday. But I think that's going to do it for my Rams and Bills game recap through the lens of fantasy football. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. I try to do this for every single week 3 game. You can find them on my channel. You can also hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video from me. That works too. Follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.